Hello.
Good morning. We'll get a copy of it afterwards, and then we've got some folks again who want to be here. Maybe they can't for whatever reason. Totally fine. So we're going to send it out to them as well. But if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, so there's a couple of boxes. There's the question box and then the chat box as well. Questions, please, in the question box, and then if you'd like to chat, go ahead. I've turned on emojis, so if anybody wants to respond with an emoji, that is perfectly acceptable. Absolutely not a problem. But what really happy to have you all here and talk about digital forms and permits on your website. And this is regardless of whether you're a TownWeb customer or not. Most of you are, and if you're not, that doesn't mean that you can't still have digital forms and permits on your website. So it's all good. We're here to talk about this and talk about things and have a nice conversation. But again, if you have questions, anything like that, please let us know. Pop something in the chat box, a question in the question box, and we'll definitely have some time at the end. So we're scheduled to go till for me on the West Coast, it would be 9:45. So just figure your time zone there. I think we'll probably get done a little bit early, but we have some time for questions at the end, and we're just going to kind of get going. So here we go. So welcome. So my name is Chris Estrella. I am the government content insider for TownWeb, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with you guys today about digital forms and permits and government and how this all kind of interacts with each other. I live in Las Vegas. I am a cheesehead, though. I was raised in Wisconsin. I lived in Wisconsin for 39 years, which was 38 winters too many. And so good morning from sunny, albeit a little windy, Las Vegas. I absolutely love living here. My wife and I moved out here just a little over 2 years ago. It's finally started to feel like home. It's fantastic. If you've been here, you know how great it is. If you haven't been here, we can't wait for you to visit. We have amazing food, amazing entertainment, and even off the strip, there's a lot of really great natural things within a couple hours of us that are just fantastic to see. The Grand Canyon isn't that far away. So there's a lot more to Vegas than the strip, and we really are figuring that out by living here. So, but a little bit more about me. I was a clerk treasurer in Wisconsin for almost 17 years. I really enjoyed the work. I was a deputy administrator for 10. It was a fantastic kind of career for me. But I kind of, with all the elections and everything that had been going on with that, I decided to change my career and move out to Nevada almost at the same time. So it was kind of a hectic year for a while. But I'm also a past president of the Wisconsin Municipal Clerks Association. So I still have a lot of contacts in Wisconsin and really throughout the Midwest and the country. What's unique about me is that I also was a TownWeb customer across 3 different municipalities, and all of them are still actually customers with us. The town of Blooming Grove was my first clerk position. I was deputy clerk there for almost 10 years, and I started with TownWeb back in 2007. I worked in the town of Vienna for about 6 to 8 months, and they were an existing TownWeb customer kind of in the middle of my career. And then my last municipal job was at the town of Oakland. I was there for almost 3 years in Jefferson County, and they were already an existing TownWeb customer as well. They are all still TownWeb customers, and it was just really great for me to kind of slide right in and know what to expect. So just a little bit more about me. I love the Packers. I've got my Packer shirt on today because we won. Go Pack Go. I'm a huge New York Yankees fan. My family's originally from the East Coast, so we're all Yankees fans. And if you've ever had a double-double from In-N-Out Burger, you know how incredible and why I love it so much. I love living out here for the food, and In-N-Out Burger is just amazing. So enough about me. We're gonna jump right into everything and really have a good not too distant past, and I'm going to say pre-COVID. We'll say if you put your pre-COVID hat on, there was, and there might still be today, but there definitely was a lot of paper-based communication, a lot of face-to-face visits, people coming to your town hall, your village hall, your city hall. People needed forms to fill out. maybe you had them on your website, but they had to print them out, they had to download them, fill them out by hand, get them to you somehow, maybe through a Dropbox, or bring them to your building, maybe back through the mail if they don't have the ability to get to you. Maybe some of you are still doing forms like this now. I know at Oakland, my last job before we moved out to Wisconsin, we still had our forms like this, even during COVID. We had to adapt, but we still had a lot of our forms like that. Maybe you have a bulletin board inside your building. Maybe your residents get their information through a newspaper. That was actually very common for me in Oakland. We had a significant agricultural part of the town, and they only got their news predominantly through the TV or through a local newspaper, a weekly newspaper. So we still put notices in the newspaper so those people could see them. Maybe some of you have a dry erase board or a paper planner for your reservations for rentals, either for your municipal building or for parks or things that you rent out. I'm just as guilty. We had one in the Oakland Town Hall. People would call and they would ask, is the building available to rent, such and such a day? Is the park available? Is the shelter available? This was our system. So we had people who had to come down and fill out a packet of information, or maybe I could email it to them, but they still had to get it back to me on paper. So these are situations that are probably familiar to all of you, and maybe are still existent for some of you. So it's something that we really are kind of thanks to COVID, because we all had to evolve. We all had to adjust in how we did our jobs. This is why we're here with digital forms and digital permits and online reservations and online payments. This really is, I would say, a direct result of COVID and how we all had to perform our jobs during it. So we've talked about COVID, and that's kind of the driver here, but what can a municipal website be used for? I'm going to be very honest. Even before I started working for TownWeb, a website in my mind was a website. You put information out there, people can kind of help themselves. That's pretty much it. In the past 5, maybe even 6, 7 years, websites have really turned more into communication tools than just, let me throw some forms and permits up on there and people can help themselves. So what can you put on your website? You can put events on there. You can put emergency notifications, public notices. If you're a member of a tourism commission, if you have a tourism commission for your community, it's a really great way to put information about what tourist activities are out there and why people should come to your community. Economic development is a big one. Why businesses should come to your community, why they should come and create jobs, why you want to have economic development there. But really, this all kind of revolves around communication. I really believe, I'll just say 10 years ago to make the number round. 10 years ago, a website was, let's put information up on there. People can help themselves. Maybe they don't have to bother us as much, it's perfectly fine. I did it as well. But now, with all of these items and even more, a website is so much more of a communication tool than just a website, more than it ever was. And so this is really what we're here to talk about, answer questions about, and kind of get a feeling for what you guys are doing and what you'd be interested in, but also just to show you what's available. And so, but there's even more now, and it's kind of evolved into not just information, but what other things can you put on there? Softball registrations or any other sport, any sport that your rec department might handle. Burning permits from the fire department. Short-term rental agreements for Airbnbs. Dog licenses, land use permits, building permits, camping permits. These are all things that we've seen customers of ours now actually put on their website, digitize, and have the public do. Like, it's truly incredible, all of the things that you can think of. Like, we've even had one customer put their pool passes online to purchase them online. It is truly amazing how inventive some of our customers are really being with this stuff. And it's not going to be, like that for everybody. For some folks, it might just be a couple of forms and permits, and it might just really, save, some time and some money. And that's great. But I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but this is kind of what the people are asking for. And so it's like, how do we respond to that? So why? The why is a really, really big question. Um, Something that I didn't mention in the beginning that I would say is probably relevant. I'm also a an adjunct professor of public administration at Rochester University in Michigan, virtually, of course, because I don't fly back and forth to Michigan. But one of the things that I teach my students about is not only because we talk about digital government and engagement and all that kind of stuff with it, but it's also the social aspect of it as well, the social equity aspect of it. You want to make your services available and accessible to as many people as possible, which is great. I mean, I think we all want that. It's not just where the people are, but it's also when. And an example that I typically use in class is somebody, and again, I was a clerk in Wisconsin, so I'll use Wisconsin as an example. In Wisconsin, all of the bars and establishments that serve alcohol, they're regulated by the state, but the licenses are issued at the local level. And so every bartender has to get an operator's license from the local municipality. Most of those bartenders, if you think of just a bartender's hours, most of those bartenders, they don't work first shift when you guys are all open from 8 to 4, 9 to 5, 8:30 to 4:30, something like that. So how can they, when they're at work, get their operator's license renewed? Because when you're at work, they're sleeping, and when they're at work, you're sleeping. And so that's one of the things. You want to reach the people where they are. It's great that you can put it online, but you also want to reach them when they are. This really speaks to equity, which is a big pillar in public administration. Again, something that I teach about. And so keeping that in mind, we want to make sure that the information, whatever it is, it's a form, it's a permit, it's a payment, it's a reservation, it doesn't matter. Make sure that that's readily available information. It increases the transparency of the work in your municipality, and you're also proactively sharing information. What this will really do, this will build trust between the residents and the visitors that come and the local government, which is great. A really easy way is to build trust between local government and your residents and visitors is simply just to make your services more accessible. And really, I mentioned this already, the people are asking for it. It's I don't want to say they're demanding it, but they are asking for it. And so I'm going to share. I've got a few examples that from my personal life that I've found. If you don't know what a QR code is, it's a way that you can accept a payment. You can just snap a picture with it. It will take you to an online form. It's really fantastic. In my travels this year, these are all things that I have found QR codes for. I'm just going to go over them real quick. So my wife and I took, for spring break, we went to Kauai in Hawaii. We took a really fantastic snorkel trip on the Na Pali coast. If you've never been, it's absolutely gorgeous. But to check ourselves in for our snorkel tour, they had a QR code, and we scanned that. We put all of our information in, and there was no paper involved. We just had to check in with the person to make sure they got our form, and everything was good to go. This used to be, because this wasn't our first trip to Hawaii, but on our first trip to Hawaii, it was a paper form. We had to sign it with, ink from a pen, blah, 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 blah. So that's a huge change. COVID for restaurants really changed things dramatically, because how many of you have been to a restaurant and they don't give you a menu anymore? They give you a QR code to scan, and that's the menu you pull up on your phone. And now, and again, you can see Kauai. We went to a restaurant called Kauai Beer, which was fantastic, by the way. But they also wanted us to pay by phone as well. That was a first for me. This was in April. I had not experienced that before. So I was surprised to see that. And then, so I mentioned I'm a Yankees fan. I was in New York for a conference for work. I happened to catch a Yankees broadcast. So that was awesome. And then I noticed in the upper right-hand corner, they had a QR code for the YES Network. YES is the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network. They had a QR code to download the YES app, which I had never seen before. So it just really just kind of blew my mind to see these things and how the evolution has really happened from, even 5 years ago. I don't think QR codes were this prevalent. And just a couple more examples that I want to share just because I think they're fun. I found, so this is my living room in Las Vegas. This was just after I saw that Yankees QR code. one of our news stations posted this QR code to showcase all the jobs that are available in Las Vegas. And there were like 10,000 jobs. It was incredible. I couldn't even believe it. And then something that I had experienced for the first time, you might be familiar with where this guy is. This is a Target parking lot. My wife and I were shopping. She left me in the car and she went in to grab a couple of things. And I saw this and I asked her about it when she got back. And she's like, oh yeah, they deliver your groceries and stuff into the trunk of your car now. And it totally blew my mind. And now, of course, I see it everywhere. It's Walmart, it's Target, it's grocery stores. They all do it. And so this all didn't exist really pre-COVID. COVID really turned the world upside down for businesses and how they had to adapt. And so how we tie this in together with digital forms and permits, the people from private businesses are getting this kind of treatment. They're getting QR codes. They're getting online forms. They're getting grocery delivery to their vehicles because the businesses had to adapt. Otherwise, they would close. And so now in dealing with the private sector, they're experiencing digital stuff this way. Now they're like, why isn't my government handling me like this? And so the expectation is digital stuff, digital forms, digital permits, because the private sector has already done that. And so I want to talk a little bit about the implementation of online forms. Start. I mean, I realize it's just a simple word, start, but like think about it in your mind and make a plan and start, like make a plan to do it. So first, make a list of the forms that you'd like to have available online. I mean, I had tons of forms. There's different forms for everybody, but think of the forms and the permits that you have that you maybe are kind of a pain in the butt, or maybe something that would be easy that you might not have to train residents on as much, or something that will save you a lot of time or work time or money. You've got tons of forms and permits to choose from. Figure out what will work best for you and start with that. But then, and again, I mentioned this already, but maybe start with one that's easy. Maybe a boat launch permit, maybe a dog license, maybe an operator's license. Maybe it will help a lot of people. Maybe it will take a lot of work off your plate. Whatever route you want to go, there's not a wrong route to go, but just make sure you start. You pick a route and you go down that route. But then what's also incumbent on you guys as clerks, treasurers, administrators, municipal staff, you've got to market it like it's the coolest thing ever. You've got to encourage people to use it. If you have something out there that is not being used, why do you have it then? Like that's just something like if you're paying for something, like I can just think of all the boards that I ever worked with. If I was paying for something at one of my municipalities and I wasn't using it, my board would not be very happy about throwing the money away. So if you're going to use something, if you're going to get something, make sure you use it. Encourage people to use it. Let them know this isn't a life or death situation. It's okay if you screw up. We can fix it. It's not a big deal. It's really important that you guys, when you make the conversion to digital forms and permits, maybe you send out a press release. Maybe you write an editorial in the newspaper. Of course, you definitely put it on your website, but you've got to do public outreach and let people know what's going on and how to use it, and that it's okay to step them through it, kind of handhold them the first time. Some municipalities, some examples of customers that we have that have licenses or forms or permits on their website. Deep Haven is in Minnesota. They've got their boat launch permit online. They've got it's a basic license and plus a payment, and they processed over 200 in 2 months. Obviously, we all know Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. Just as a side note, Wisconsin has more, but it's important. That was a piece for them that really saved a lot of time, a lot of effort, some consternation. 200 in 2 months is a lot. I mean, and it just doesn't matter the size of the municipality. That's a lot of forms or permits processed. I'm really proud of them for doing that. Another one is Liberty Grove in Door County. For those of you from the Midwest, Door County is it's gorgeous. I've been there once in my life, and I hope to go back someday. But it's a gorgeous part of Wisconsin. Really good wine, really good food, lots of Airbnb type places. So they have a variety of forms on their website, but the most popular one is the short-term rental because there's so many Airbnb type places there. It's a complex form, with a payment included, and they received 59 applications just in October, which is shocking to me because Liberty Grove isn't huge either. But it just goes to show it doesn't matter the size of your municipality. If you've got a lot of stuff going on, this can definitely help. The town of Rome is also, they have a really big camping process. And so they process between February and May 134 camping permit applications, which again, this is, it's an easy win for them. It's an easy permit to fill out, but it's something that they could digitize, put completely online, and it saves them a lot of time and a lot of money. So how does it help you? And I've already said the first one, it's going to save you time. It's going to save you money, but I really feel the biggest savings that you'll probably see is the time. Going digital with forms and permits and payments and reservations and that sort of thing, this is really going to free you guys up to do the more important work, like, say, elections. Yesterday was election day for part of the country. A year from now, it's going to be bananas. So there's so many more important things that all of us have to do as clerks and treasurers and administrators, and this is going to free us up to do that. It will streamline the process. For example, for renting a park or my town hall in the town of Oakland, somebody had to download the packet of information that I had, fill it out, get it to me with a cash or a check payment, and then I had to make sure everything was okay, hold on to the deposit check until after they had rented, and then send cash the payment for the check, cash the check for the rental, and then send the deposit check back or shred it. So that's a huge process, and that can, if somebody doesn't have a car, or if they only do things through the mail, anything like that, that can take some time. A digital process will streamline that hugely. Fill it out online completely, pay for it online completely, and then once it's finished, if you've got a form or a permit or a rental, you can download that and save it. You don't have to print it out. Not everybody has a printer anymore. It's really a great way to streamline the process for everybody. Something that I put in here is not having to deal with handwriting and handwriting. Well, yes, I'm talking about handwriting, of course. Not everybody has legible handwriting. Let's just face facts. I can count on thousands of hands the number of times I've had to call people and be like, what does this say? I couldn't figure it out on a voter registration application. On a permit, it doesn't matter. But also, people typically type a lot faster than they write, especially me. I'm gonna pat myself in the back a little bit. My grandma really kind of drilled into me when I was young to have a neat and legible handwriting, and I do, but I don't write quickly. I don't. I write very slow. But I can type like 900 miles an hour. And so it's a lot easier for me to type something out on a form or a permit, or, like when you think of when you establish medical care at a doctor's office and they have you fill out all those forms, like it takes me forever to fill that stuff out. Whereas if I could do it online, I could have it done in 5 minutes. So it really will help with handwriting and handwriting. What's really great too is you'll have informed residents, which will lead to building trust in the community, which is super important, and that will help create a safe and a happy environment. People know, okay, I trust my government. I can conduct business with them. It's absolutely not a problem. The biggest thing for me, besides the time, is increasing engagement with residents and visitors. And this is really, I'm going to pick on my colleague, Megan. I don't think she's here for this right now, but she's 26. We share a birthday, and I always like to give her a hard time about that I was 17 on the day that she was born, but she's a whole different generation. If it's not online, she's not going to do it. It could be a dog license. It could be a bartender, an operator license. It doesn't matter. If it's not online, she's not going to do it. That generation of people interacts with their phones, with their computers. They want to do things online. So you're going to see an increase in engagement with those younger folks, with residents and visitors. You're probably also going to see a little bump in revenue because of that, simply because you're going to have more people filling out those permits and paying for them. So lots of things to keep in mind. Kind of a unique case is a fire department. If you think about either, just what a fire department does, The town of Blooming Grove, where I first started as a clerk, we had a fire department, so I'm familiar with all this stuff. They had a fundraiser, Fill the Boot, and it would go towards whatever kind of charity they wanted to put it towards, and it would literally be a firefighter's boot, and people would put money in it. A virtual Fill the Boot is something that you could do. A lot of people don't carry cash anymore. I'm one of them. And so I would be happy to make a donation with my credit or debit card. Even if there's a little fee involved, it's not that big of a deal. I know it's going towards a good cause. You can receive and consolidate payments for calls. That is something that I handled directly when I was at Blooming Grove. Whenever we had a call that we responded to that wasn't a resident of ours, we sent a bill for that. And again, this was 15 years ago, but we only accepted cash or checks. People want to pay with credit cards now. That's another way that you can do that. They can put their volunteer applications for volunteer firefighters online and have them filled out online. That's incredible. They also issue burn permits. Fire departments don't issue a lot of burn permits, but I've never met one that doesn't issue burn permits. So putting the burn permit online would be a huge savings for them. And then finally, fire inspections. If there are businesses in your community, they typically receive a fire inspection from the fire department that covers you. Those forms they used to be, back when I was working with the fire department, they used to be carbon copies. A really great way to streamline everything and make things easier for the firefighters is to put it all online. One more kind of example that I wanted to share is the town of Spider Lake, and this ties right in with what I just spoke about in terms of fire departments. The fire chief has processed 100 plus burn permits on his phone, not on his computer, on his phone. We're very proud of that. And Spider Lake is hosting a fire department picnic and selling tickets for the picnic and selling T-shirts on their website. So that's another way that they can fundraise money for that. It truly is incredible. And Spider Lake is maybe 1,000 people, maybe 1,500. They're not very big, and they're in Northwest Wisconsin. So it goes to show, regardless of your size, digital forms, digital permits, digital government will work for you in some capacity. So just to kind of summarize everything, we are coming down the home stretch. We're almost done. Going digital on your website will lead to greater compliance, which will also generate more revenue because you're having more people filling out those permits and forms and doing things. It will increase citizen engagement, which will, as a great byproduct, increase trust. It will definitely save staff time. It will definitely save residents and visitors time. You're going to have less data entry errors because of handwriting. You're going to save money. And I think maybe the biggest one, give the people what they want. The people are asking for this. The people are expecting this. And this is really how they want to live their lives, fill out their forms and permits online and really conduct their business this way. So for anybody who's an elected official out there, a great way to get reelected is to give the people what they want, and this is what they're asking for. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen real quick, but if you have any questions or any riddles, of course, but if you have any questions, please pop them in the question box. Let us know. We've definitely got some time allotted for Q&A, anything like that. And I want to thank all of you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. Here's my contact information. If you want to reach out via email is the best way to get a hold of me. But I think this is a really important topic. Again, it's something that I teach about in my class that with my students, and I'm really excited to kind of get this message out to more of the world. So thank you so much for coming. I really, really, really appreciate it. And again, if you guys have any questions, if you have any thoughts or anything you want to share, put them in the chat box or in the question box, and we will definitely respond to them. It will probably stick around for, 5 or 10 minutes, unless, there's more questions, anything like that. But yes, we'll definitely hang out. Oh, I see we have a question. What is the cost for this service? I am so glad that you asked. I can't, unfortunately, give you a solid answer because it depends on what you would use. But we will, Charles, we will definitely follow up with you and see if we can figure that out. It's somewhat loosely based on population, but it's really based on what you would use. forms, permits, reservations, everything like that. So I can't give you a solid answer. I mean, I could tell you it's somewhere between $1,000 and $10,000, and I know that's terrible, but that's the one that I could give you for right now. But we'll definitely follow up with you and get a more specific number. Also, that's a great question. Any other questions? How quickly are changes to a website processed? Let me give you a simple answer. So if you're changing text, it's almost instant. At least on our websites. I mean, I can't speak to anybody else's, but on our websites, I knew this from using them as a clerk, but also now. I mean, I change some text, I upload a picture, I add a link. I mean, all that can be done in a minute or two tops. Yeah, it's very quick, and it's always been very quick. Another great question. Jeff would like to follow up with us for perfect. That would be great. That I love to hear that. That's awesome. We will definitely do that. I think we might have your email just because you needed it to register, but if we don't follow up fast enough, there's mine. Please reach out. Absolutely, we'd love to. And that's another thing. If anybody would like, if you're already a TownWeb customer, that's great. We're happy to have you. If you're not and you're interested in looking, we'd love to have a conversation with you about that. It would be another meeting with me, so apologies in advance. But we can definitely go over things with you, give you a solid quote, and just kind of have you go from there. And then also, if you're interested in the digital services, and again, forms, permits, payments, reservations, that sort of thing, we can give you a better idea with that definitely down the road. Other questions? We've got a few minutes left, so don't be shy. Definitely, even if you just want to see mention how the weather is where you are, I'm definitely interested in that. Cool stuff. Well, I think we'll hang out here for just a couple more minutes before we jump off. But if any, we got something. Somebody typed something. Thank you, Jeff. A winter weather advisory for northern Wisconsin. Oh, you just made my day. I swear. You just made my day. I don't miss that at all. I'm very sorry. I don't miss it at all. Yes, we're under a wind advisory here in Vegas, but and it's cooler. It's only in the mid 60s, but no thanks. No winter weather for me anymore. The mountains around us get snow, and I can look at it, and it's pretty to look at, but I don't have to shovel it. So I love that. It's nice to see you again.
I know, right? Nice to see you too.